Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben.
And I'm Lily.
Lily, how are you doing today? Did you sleep well?
Honestly, I had the strangest dream last night, and now I can barely remember it. Just little pieces here and there.
Oh, that's so frustrating. And actually, that connects perfectly to what we're talking about today, because today's episode is all about memory. Why we remember some things so easily, and why other things just disappear.
Yes, and I feel like this happens to everyone. You study really hard for something, or you meet someone new and want to remember their name, and then gone.
Exactly. So before we dive in, let's start with a question to get your brain working. Here's something a lot of people get wrong. When you forget something, what's actually happening in your brain? Is it A, the memory was never stored in the first place? B, the memory was stored, but your brain can't find it? Or C, your brain deleted the memory to save space, like a computer?
Ooh, I like this question. So, is it A, B, or C?
Go ahead and think about it for a second, and we'll come back to the answer a bit later. What's your guess, Lily?
I'm going to say B. The memory is in there somewhere. You just can't reach it.
That's a really interesting guess. We'll see if you're right. So let's start with the basics. How does memory actually work?
Right, so most people imagine memory like a video recording. Like your brain films everything that happens and you can just play it back whenever you want.
But that's actually not how it works at all. Memory is much more like construction. Every time you remember something, your brain is literally rebuilding it from pieces. It's not playing back a file, it's putting together a puzzle each time.
That process of saving information in your brain is called encoding. Encoding means your brain takes something you experienced and converts it into a form it can store. But here's the thing, your brain doesn't encode everything equally.
Right, so if you're distracted or if something doesn't feel important to you in the moment, your brain might not encode it strongly. That's why you might forget where you put your keys. You weren't really paying attention when you put them down.
And then there's another stage, which is retrieval. Retrieval is when you try to pull a memory back out. So forgetting often happens not because the memory is gone, but because your brain can't successfully retrieve it.
Which is why sometimes you can't remember something in the moment, and then hours later, it just pops into your head out of nowhere.
Yes, that happens to me all the time. And there's actually a word for that feeling. When something is on the tip of your tongue, but you can't quite get it, it's called a retrieval failure.
A retrieval failure, meaning your brain has the information, but the path to reach it just isn't working in that moment.
It's like knowing your friend's phone number is written down somewhere in your house, but you just can't find which drawer it's in.
I love that image. Now, we also need to talk about something called consolidation. Consolidation is the process of your brain strengthening a memory over time, and a huge part of this happens while you sleep.
So that's why pulling an all-nighter to study is actually a bad idea. Because if you don't sleep, your brain doesn't get the chance to consolidate what you learned.
Exactly. Sleep is basically when your brain files everything away properly. Without it, the memories stay fragile and are much easier to lose.
We asked a few people about their own memory experiences. Here's what they told us.
The first person said, "I always remember song lyrics perfectly, but I can never remember what I had for breakfast 2 days ago. My brain is selective about what it thinks is worth keeping."
The second person said, "I studied an entire chapter the night before my exam, but when I sat down to write, it was like my mind went completely blank. I was so frustrated."
And the third person said, "I remembered my childhood home address for 30 years without thinking about it. But I forgot my new PIN number after a week. I think emotions help you remember things."
That last one is actually a really good instinct. Emotions do play a huge role in memory. So let's go a little deeper into why we forget and what we can actually do about it.
One of the biggest reasons we forget is something called interference. Interference is when new information gets in the way of older information, or the other way around. So if you learn 10 new vocabulary words on Monday and 10 more on Tuesday, the two groups of words can actually start to compete with each other in your brain.
That's why spacing out your learning over several days works much better than trying to do everything at once. Your brain needs time between sessions to sort things out.
And another big factor is something researchers call the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve shows that we forget information incredibly fast after we first learn it. About half of new information is gone within an hour if we don't do anything to reinforce it.
Reinforce. That means to strengthen something, to make it stick better. So if you read something once and never come back to it, your brain has very little reason to keep it.
The most effective way to fight the forgetting curve is through something called spaced repetition. Spaced repetition means reviewing information at gradually increasing intervals. So you review it after 1 day, then after 3 days, then after a week, and so on.
This works because every time you successfully retrieve a memory, you actually make it stronger. It's like the path to that memory gets a little wider each time you use it.
And here's something that I think is really interesting. Emotion is one of the strongest memory signals your brain has. Things connected to strong feelings, whether that's excitement, fear, or even embarrassment, tend to stick around much longer.
Which is why most people can tell you exactly where they were when something big happened in their life. But they can't tell you what they had for lunch last Thursday.
Your brain is basically always making decisions about what's worth keeping. And ordinary, unemotional moments often don't make the cut.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly go through today's words so they actually stick in your memory. Which is kind of the point of this whole episode, right?
Encoding. The teacher was encoding the lesson into a story to help students remember it more easily.
Retrieval. I had a retrieval failure during the test. The answer was right there, but I just couldn't access it.
Consolidation. Getting enough sleep is essential for the consolidation of everything you learned during the day.
Interference. Studying two similar topics back to back can cause interference and make both harder to remember.
The forgetting curve. The forgetting curve shows how quickly we lose new information if we don't review it.
Spaced repetition. Language learners who use spaced repetition tend to remember vocabulary far longer than those who just cram.
Reinforce. Reviewing your notes regularly helps reinforce the material so it stays with you.
Great. Now, are you ready for the quiz answer?
I think so. So the question was, when you forget something, what's happening in your brain? And the answer is B. The memory was stored, but your brain can't find it.
Yes, I was right.
You were. Most forgetting isn't about the memory being erased. It's about retrieval. The memory might still be there, but the path to reach it has faded or is being blocked.
So the takeaway today is this. You're not bad at remembering. You just need to give your brain the right conditions. Sleep well, space out your learning, and revisit information regularly.
If you found today's episode useful, comment the word practice below, and we'll reply with today's phrase to help you keep the words fresh.
Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.
Bye!